Hello everyone and welcome back to my YouTube channel. So it has been probably about 2 weeks now since I've uploaded my last video, and I'm really sorry about the inconsistency because I am a very consistent person. But with YouTube it's just taken a bit of a back seat. Obviously I was in Mykonos last week, so yeah, if anyone's not been to Mykonos, oh my god, you need to go. It was incredible. Like, without doubt, it was one of the most beautiful, picturesque places I've ever been to. And when I come back, I said to Nathan, I was like, I'd love to go again with Nathan because obviously I went on a hen party. If you watched the last video, I think I spoke about it in there. I went on a hen party, but I'd love to go back to with Nathan, and do like an island hop, because I think that would be absolutely awesome. So I've seen some gorgeous pictures of a place called Paros. Obviously got Santorini, Mykonos. There's got loads of gorgeous Greek islands. There was like loads, like don't get me wrong, Mykonos was amazing. A few little downfalls. Obviously, there's no shops nearby where like the villas were, so obviously we had to like just get everything ordered in or like eat out all the time, and we didn't have a car, so we had to keep getting taxis. The taxis are quite easy to get over there. One of the girls had an app, but you can't walk anywhere because there's no side street, what they call pavements or anything. So yeah, it was amazing. Went to a place called, what's the beach club, Scorpios. I'm sure many people will have heard of that. And then we went to Santana, which is a beach club, which was so good. So yeah, we had an amazing time. So that was Wednesday till Saturday. Obviously, I normal work Sunday, Monday, Tuesday. Check-ins Wednesday. Flew back Wednesday evening. Landed first thing Thursday morning. So obviously I worked all day Thursday. Obviously didn't sleep on the Wednesday evening. So Thursday, Friday. Today is Saturdays. I'm filming this. So it has been very full on, guys. So obviously I'm not giving excuses, but that's the reason why obviously my YouTube's been a little bit rubbish. But yeah, today's video, I wanted to give you a bit of an update in terms of one, life, and also two, a bit of an insight into like how to actually set your calories, because this is something I spoke about the other day and I thought, you know what, how many people, even with all the information nowadays, how many people still don't know how to do this properly? So yeah, going back to a bit of a life update first of all before I dig into that, I am now officially, it's the 4th of July today, so I think I'm officially 12 days out from my final shoot. I'm at that point now where I'm not, I would say I'm ready to come out of a dieting phase, to be honest. I'm not like I'm not being adherent or anything, it's just when you get to that point, and if you've been lean before, you know, you get to that point where I just want a date night now with Nathan. Like, I just want to be able to spend some quality time with Nathan a bit more. Like, we can go and do that, obviously, but I mean, enjoying a nice meal, because I've not done that now since about January. I'm very disciplined and very good at saying no to things, but when, obviously, it's been like now, like 6 months, I'm now at that point where I'm like, I can't wait to go and enjoy some time with him. So I think we're going to book in at Atlantis, the Royal, at a place called Gastronomy, or Gastronomy, however you want to call it, which is basically a big, like, insane, like, imagine like bougie buffet. Like, it's incredible. So I'm going to book there for breakfast, because all I want, honestly, when people talk about what they want post diet, I genuinely just want something like full fat Greek yogurt granola, some fresh fruit. Like, I've not had fresh fruit in ages, like a nice fruit platter. So I'm going to do a breakfast there, and then I've got a voucher. When me and Nathan got engaged, my group of friends bought us a voucher for Zuma. So yeah, we're going to go to the Zuma over in Dubai as well, as a bit of a celebration, and it'll just be back into routine. So my goal that is to maintain over the summer period. I have got now like 8 weeks basically, so it was the first week in July today as I'm recording this. We've got July and August. I go back to the UK obviously at end of August, beginning of September. Oh no, that's a lie, I don't. I go back to the UK at the end of August. I then go to Malta for a week because obviously we've got a family wedding. And then obviously I've got to stay in the UK because I've got a client competing at the British finals with UK DFBA. And then from there, me and Nathan are going to go and do 2 months in Marbella, because obviously we get married in Marbella in September next year. So we already planned anyway going over in November for our menu tasting, wine tasting, all that type of stuff. But we thought, you know what, let's just go and do a bit of sightseeing whilst we're there, kind of scope at any pre and post wedding party venues, like all that type of stuff. So we're going to do that obviously in October, November, and then obviously go back to the UK for December. So it has been very chaotic. So no, I'm looking forward to it. It's going to be amazing. Busy few months ahead, but I'm looking forward to, like I said, wrapping up this diet phase now. So maintain until travels, and then obviously over the Christmas period, probably from about September, October, I'll start going into a bit of a surplus and do a bit of a growth phase up until like early next year. Where obviously then it's going to be starting bloody hen party plans. Like, I've literally booked my hen party the day, guys, as well. So I booked my hen party. We're going to go to Cannes, which I'm so excited about. So that's south of France. I am so excited for that, because it's somewhere I've always wanted to go. we kept kind of flitting between the ideas. I suggested, I'd love to go to Paris, obviously very French, I don't know why, but I'd love to go to Paris, I'd love to go to Parma. I've seen really nice things of like Parma for girl, like hen parties, girls' holidays. And then I said Cannes. No, I really deep down wanted to go to Cannes, but I also appreciate that obviously my wedding is also in Marbella. So for a lot of people, it's going to be a big outlay next year. Like my close friends, so I was like, you guys just pick, I'm not bothered, as long as you're there, I don't care. And then obviously the girls were like, no, I want to do Cannes, so all in all, amazing. We've actually booked the Airbnb now, so that the accommodation's sorted. In the next few months, obviously, we're going to start booking the other little bits. Bliss, one of my really close friends, she was like, do you want to have any dealings with the planning? I was like, no, you deal with it all. So that's exciting. We're going to go in June next year as I get married in September, just because the other girls have got other hens and weddings in between as well. So I'm really, really looking forward to our plans. But yes, into today's episode, guys. I wanted to talk a little bit about calories, like I said, and how we actually calculate them. Now, it's probably easy for me to actually put like a bit of a, I'll explain it, and then obviously a bit of a photo on the screen to kind of show you. Because when you're trying to calculate someone's calories, like, I'll explain this at a beginner level, shall we say, like if you was going to do this yourself. But obviously when you've been doing it for a long time, like I've been doing this now nearly 10 years, you kind of look at someone's composition, you understand their activity levels, and you can pretty much nail on what they would drop on. And like, you know, I could probably tell you, like, if I had a client in front of me, she was 70 kilos, training 4 times a week, doing X amount of steps and cardio a week, I could probably tell you what she would drop, you know, between £1 and £1.50 a week and £2 a week, just from doing this for so long. But obviously you guys probably aren't going to know that. So the way in which you obviously want to kind of work it out initially, just to kind of get confident working out your calories, you always want to start out by figuring out what's known as your BMR, right? So your BMR is your basal metabolic rate. Now, your BMR basically represents the amount of calories that you need to simply stay alive and for your body to do its bodily functions. So when people say things like females, you know, I'm on 1,200 calories and I'm not losing weight, a lot of females' BMR would probably be around like anywhere from say 1,000 calories, small females, to say 1,200 calories. So that's why a lot of the time for small people, very, very petite people, that might not be the case, I suppose, but for people who are obviously carrying more body weight, more body fat, shall we say, if you're not actually on 1,200 calories, you would be literally, it'll be falling off you because your BMR alone, like disregarding everything else, is that would be your BMR. There or thereabouts. As you can tell, guys, I'm struggling with my breathing still. So yeah, that's what the first thing you need to figure out is your BMR, and there's a calculation to kind of do that. So I'll put it on the screen so you can see. And we use something called the Harris-Benedict equation. So obviously I'll put it on there so you can have a look at it and you can do that for yourself. Once you've understood your BMR, then you need to figure out your TDE, right? Which is basically your total daily energy expenditure. And that's basically how active you are in the day, shall we say, in layman's terms. So like I said, you will have a certain amount of calories that you will burn just for you to stay alive, lie in bed all day, do absolutely nothing. There will be a certain amount of energy, i.e. calories, that you will need to simply do that. And that's your BMR. But obviously, let's be honest, most of us don't just sit in bed all day and just do absolutely nothing, right? We actually move. And even if your movement is minimal and you're thinking, well, I don't move a lot with training, I don't train at the minute, but you still walk, you might still get a certain amount of steps in every single day. You know, you might train, do some classes, I don't know, whatever activity that you do, yeah? People forget, like, even fidgeting, me now fidgeting around, that's still classed as, like, neat. So obviously it's non-formal training, non-formal exercise. Still burns calories. Me moving my hands, like me blinking. That's why there's, like, research on, like, blink, the number of blinks. Is it blink speed or the blink test, whatever it was? Basically, there was a study whereby, obviously, you know, it basically was proven that when people were getting very, very lean at the end of a dieting phase, obviously, I think it was the blink speed massively reduced as that person got leaner. So it's the body just trying to preserve life at all costs. So going back to what I was saying, BMR, once you've got your BMR, you then times that by your activity level, yeah? And I'll put that on the screen as well, because obviously the more active you are, the more your maintenance calories are going to be. So BMR times activity level will give you your TDE, which is your maintenance calories, your total daily energy expenditure, okay? So that's giving you maintenance calories. So if you want to maintain, you know, give it a go, just throw yourself in the deep end, start to track them calories, you know, and get consistent at them maintenance calories and see what goes on in terms of your body weight, right? If your body weight's hovering around that same point, you're at maintenance calories. If your body weight, you know, trends down and you think you're on maintenance, you're probably not, you're probably in a deficit. And obviously if body weight starts to trend up when you think you're on maintenance calories, you're probably not, you're probably in a surplus, right? So that's the first thing I would do. And then if you're someone that wants to go into a calorie surplus, let's just say you're someone that wants to build muscle, the way in which I would then go about that is simply by initially, and it's hard to explain this just on a kind of basic video, shall we say, because everyone's journey is different, but let's just say you've primed the body very, very well, you're in a perfect position to go into a calorie surplus. I'd literally just put someone in a very, very marginal surplus first of all, probably like 100 to 200 calories a day, and then obviously just keep it basic. Maybe around 200 calories and just keep it there, and then gradually over time I would then increase the surplus, very, very gradually. Now, a lot of people, females, let's say you're a natural female like me who wants to improve composition over time, you want to look more toned, you want to improve that visual look, you want to look athletic and strong. Your need for calories going into a surplus is probably not as high as what Instagram tells you. And people think building muscle is just a case of you adding more calories, and it's not, right? We don't build muscle through adding calories. We build muscle through the stimulus of progressive overload and constantly pushing your body to that point of failure. So then you're forcing that adaptation in terms of growth, which is basically hypertrophy, right? So the calorie increase will obviously help in terms of your demand for training, your ability to push performance in the gym. However, it's not a direct thing where you eat more calories, you build more muscle, yeah? You can eat more calories but train like an absolute limp noodle and not build any muscle. So that's why I always say, like, you need to make sure, guys, your calorie increase in a surplus need to be very, very gradual. Yeah, I'm not talking 50 calories or like 100 calories, but every now and again when it's needed, when your performance slows down. If your performance is still improving week on week on week on week on week, you probably don't need more food because you've got the data that are telling you that obviously your body is doing what it should be doing, right? So hope that makes sense. On the flip side, obviously the deficits, we've gone through maintenance calories, how to figure them out, we've gone through surplus calories. If I was to put someone in a deficit, again, there's a couple of caveats with this. How long the client's got to kind of reach the goal, the relationship with food, status type of thing, you know, there's quite a lot, yeah? But obviously, as a rule of thumb, I would typically always put someone in a deficit of at least 500 calories, because 500 times 7, you're expecting someone then to pull off about 3,500 calorie deficit, which is equivalent roughly to around a pound of body fat, yeah? So we can then expect to see around a pound a week. Now, with that being said, if someone's carrying more body fat, they can tolerate a bigger deficit, okay? If someone's got less body fat, you probably don't want to put them in an extremely severe deficit because they're probably going to struggle to adhere, yeah, if they're not had experience with dieting. So it is very, very client dependent and obviously experience dependent, shall we say. Like, I can tolerate a harsh deficit because I've been doing this shit for a very long time. Do you know what I mean? So a lot of people who are newer to health and fitness probably can't tolerate it the same. But that's the way in which I would go about it. So that's basically, guys, how I would calculate my calories, how I would calculate my BMR, my maintenance calories, and then all you need to do once you've got them maintenance calories, that's your maintenance number. And again, it's not 100% accurate, so you've got to, you know, actually monitor what your body does over time. Let's say you've got your maintenance calories, you either can then decide, do I want to stay at maintenance, do I want to spend a period of time in a slight surplus and build muscle, or do I want to go into a deficit and pull off some body fat. Now, how that would kind of come up in practice, just so everybody knows this as well, and I'll give you my opinion as to how we do this with clients. A lot of people will say to me, how do you know if you should diet, maintain, or build? And I'll just do it easy, like diet and building, just because obviously they're the two kind of main, actually no, I'll include maintenance as well. Dieting, realistically, I would always put someone through a fat loss phase. So I like people building from a position of at least 15-20% body fat at the very most as a female. So 15% is ideal, 20%, like I said, as long as we're not carrying too much body fat. We want to be in a lean position, basically, where our body's very insulin sensitive, habits are nailed, routines are nailed prior to you going into a building phase. Because let's be honest, if you are somebody that is carrying too much body fat, when you then go into that building phase, ultimately you're going to be in a position whereby you are going to get really uncomfortable, and then before you know it, you're going to want to start dieting again, right? And that's the last thing we want. We don't want you in a position whereby you are basically you're in a position where obviously you're hopping between phases, you're never fully committing to a phase because obviously you've just probably not started your fat loss phase in the leanest points, that obviously you're carrying too much body fat, you start accumulating body fat in a surplus and you want to diet again, so you're never in a building phase long enough to actually see any progress before you're dieting again, okay? So hopefully, guys, that makes sense. For someone who is wanting to go into or someone that's asking about a maintenance phase, who do I think this is really good for? So if someone comes to me, and that, as an example, I've got a client in this position who I set up today, and she's not got the best relationship with food, right? And her entire life she's been on a diet, but she's not been on a diet because she's not adherent. So what I've said to this client is, I would highly recommend you to go into a period of maintenance calories to start out with, for probably an 8-week period, to actually teach yourself how to eat properly at maintenance. Because at the minute she's not dropping weight, so she's clearly at maintenance now, but she's obviously not realising she's at maintenance because she's clearly picking between her meals, over consuming, etc., right? So I want that client though, that the habits need to be nailed before going in deficit. People think dieting's easy, right? If you can't eat maintenance calories, how the fuck, pardon my French, are you going to go into a dieting phase when hunger is high? It's illogical. So we need to get you very, very skilled eating at maintenance calories first before we then go into a deficit, and your body then will be very, very responsive too, okay? So that's the perfect person for me who wants to go to maintenance calories straight away. Or someone who's just like mentally fatigued, they've either been in a surplus for a while or they've been in a dieting phase. I'd be like, just go to maintenance calories for a period of time. On the flip side, you've got the people who go into a surplus, right? So if I've got a client who is already very lean, they already are quite experienced with training. So like for clients who don't really know how to train, it's just illogical to put them in a surplus straight away because they need to learn how to train properly before they can warrant the extra food to then go into a surplus and actually build muscle effectively, not just accumulate loads of excess body fat. So yeah, I would put someone in a surplus who knows how to train well, who's quite experienced with training, who's already quite lean, so they're in a perfect position then to start building straight away. I would probably, in my coaching with my clients, I would probably say it's 95% dieting phase first of all, very, very much 1 to 2% of people going into maintenance calories, and then obviously the other percentages going into a surplus straight away. So it is very much a lot of people will start the journey, even if they want to go through like a body recomposition. Clients that say to me, I want to build muscle, I want to look toned. The first phase for a lot of people is probably going to be dieting because it will just teach you so much about training, about nutrition, about habits, about routines, about discipline. And if you need to get those solidified to then earn the right in a surplus, because people think going into a surplus is easy. They think it should just be really, really streamlined, and it's not. Honestly, guys, going through a surplus is mentally tough because you're not going to see changes week to week either. So you've got to be very mentally strong. So if you're someone that's very, very receptive to data, yeah, you're probably going to struggle in a building phase. So you've got to learn and manage your expectations in fat loss, learn the process, be educated on the process, actually understand what's going to be going on in the long term so that you can set yourself up for a very, very successful building phase. So I hope this video makes sense, and I hope it just gives you a bit of an insight into like how to calculate your calories, how to do it properly. Like I said, in the majority of clients that you'll see on my page, the way in which their journey typically runs, we might run, it depends how much body fat they've got to get off, but it might be a 16-20 week dieting phase where we've got mini diet breaks in between. So we might do 8 weeks, week at maintenance calories, 8 weeks again. Again, depends how much body fat the client's got to pull off. If they've got more, we might do another 8 week block. Then that client will have a couple of weeks at maintenance calories to regulate their appetite, and then we'll start gradually going into more of a recomp phase, a building phase thereafter, okay? And then we might, again, every client's different in a building phase. I've got some clients who love to build for a prolonged period of time, 6, 8, 12 months, and they're fine with doing that. They're fine with seeing minimal visible change on a day-to-day basis because they understand the process, they can play the long game. Whereas a lot of the newer GenPop clients, I will typically do them through like a 16-20 week build, then a 6 to 8 week mini cut, and then push back up again. Now, that journey of body recomposition, it's not an overnight thing, guys. You've got to buy into it long term because even me, if you look at my physique now from where I started, my body composition is totally different at a higher body weight. But that's not just been done over like a couple of months. It's been done over years, and that's me training hard, being very consistent on a year-to-year basis. I'm not someone that goes on massive binges of my food. Like, I am very good with my relationship with food. I'm very, very good with managing my holidays, my travel, and I travel quite a lot. But what I'm trying to get at is if you are someone that's serious about long-term change and you want to learn how to stay in a great shape year round and you want to make great improvements, you've really got to buy into that long-term journey, guys. It's so important. But yeah, I do hope this video has been useful. I have got a very, very busy week coming up now. Obviously, we've just done all the setups for the ladies that moved from our group program into one-to-one. And if you are someone that is serious about leveling up over the next few months, maybe you're coming out of summer and come back from your summer holidays and you're thinking, I could do with something to really get me going and get me into a solid position going to the mid to back end of next year, mid to back end of this year, should I say. I probably have something coming for you, or I may have something coming for you over the next couple of weeks. So do stay close to my page and make sure you got my notifications or your notifications switched on my page. But yeah, hopefully guys, you took a lot from today's video. PS, if you do have any suggestions in terms of like Hindu stuff for Cannes, please do reach out. My inbox is always open on Instagram. Send anything over. But if you do have any questions in regards to how to set up your calories, anything you're unsure about, because obviously I know nowadays a lot of people just go onto ChatGPT and put the information there, but hearing it from an actual skilled coach who gets results, you just want to be getting that right information, guys, because I'm all for AI. Like, it helps my business massively in certain aspects, like when it comes to like checking my bloody grammar when I'm writing an email. Like, there's certain things I will use it for, but when it comes to health and fitness, like writing training programs, nutrition stuff, like, you need a human touch, because it's that's what really does drive success. Okay, so hope this video makes sense. If you do have any questions, like I said, please don't hesitate to get in touch. If you are interested in working with us on a one-to-one basis, the coaching application form is in the show notes. And yeah, I will catch you in the next episode, guys. Speak to you soon.